Good morning, everyone. My name is Sanjay Srivastava, and thank you for joining this webinar. So this is part of a webinar series that we have started, which we call Bring AI to Your Campus. And the hope here is that, over time, we will discuss practical strategies, how you can deploy AI into your campus. This is something which a conversation I know all of you are having right now. Today, we're going to talk about a specific product, which is Vocareum AI Notebook. This is our learner-facing product for learning AI. So agenda, today, I'm going to do a presentation about Vocareum and our product for hopefully, which will be around 15 minutes. Then we'll do a demo, which should last anywhere up to 30 minutes. And then we'll open it up to Q&A. But while I'm doing the presentation, there are quite a few of us from Vocareum who are present here. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask through the Q&A function, and hopefully someone will respond to it right away. So for those of you who are not familiar with us, this is a really quick background about Vocareum. We launched the product in 2014 fall, so exactly 10 years ago. We had done a couple of pilots in, I believe it was UCSD and University of Illinois and a couple of high schools. And our goal was to provide virtual labs. So what we mean by virtual labs is a hands-on space where the learners can get access to the resources, and the space itself could be initialized and set up by the teacher, and then they can use it for learning, maybe in the context of doing an assignment or at home or maybe in-class lab or maybe a capstone project. Our first set of products were in computer science, but since then we have grown to about 4 million learners worldwide. We are in about 7,000 universities, and we are very proud to be a partner with almost 10 EdTech platforms. So once again, as I was mentioning, that we are in about 7,000 higher ed institutions. I'm not going to go over this list. But when we started the company, it was we had a mission to make sure that these labs are not in isolation, but they are a part of the learner's overall journey, overall learning experience. So we were really focused on making sure the labs were integrated in whatever the primary learning platform that the learner was using. So almost 80% of the learners do not come to Vocareum directly, but come through either an EdTech platform or a learning management system. So very often, let's say if you're learning cloud computing, maybe on Udemy or Udacity, or Simplilearn, you might be actually using the hands-on labs from Vocareum. Similarly, in our higher ed environments, we are very tightly integrated with learning management systems. So often the learner clicks on a Canvas assignment link and then comes to Vocareum. So these integrations happen either through LTI when it's available, but sometimes when LTI is not available, then we have a REST API which is used to integrate with the environment. So learner just about never has to create an account on Vocareum. They do not have to log in directly. All happens through the authentication. All happens via SSO. While we have a lot of customers, one of the partnerships we are particularly proud of is with AWS Academy. This is a program by AWS Education Group where they integrate our labs in their cloud curriculum, and then it's distributed worldwide for free. And so the learners there are not only learning, getting a cloud credit, getting a credit towards their degree, but also getting ready for AWS certification. So when I mentioned 4 million learners earlier on, almost half of them are actually come to us via this program, which is AWS Academy. So we are hoping that because of the scale and the relevance of the curriculum, we are hoping to be making a big impact, especially as the learners graduate and they go out there looking for a job. In terms of the products, the way we are presenting the products are in these four big categories. We will be talking about the one in the top, which is Vocareum AI Gateway. This is a product more targeted at IT, where you can apply a governance layer to distributing AI resources. Vocareum AI Notebook is our purpose-built environment for learners to get access to all the relevant AI resources, regardless of where they are learning prompt engineering or they're learning computing. Vocareum Cloud Labs is our largest category of products, where we deliver sandbox environments for AWS, Azure, GCP, and Databricks resources. We are not going to be discussing that, but can always ask for more information. And then AI learning agent. This is the most recent focus, where we are building really focused AI apps. So one of the first effort is in for math proficiency, where we are using AI to generate assessment. So in general, the focus on these learning agents is that maybe if you just go to your AI directly, then you might get, say, 30 or 40% hallucination. So using all sorts of techniques like multi-agents or multi-models, we want to get this hallucination down to, let's say, 10%, and then have a workflow where the rest of the hallucination can be managed either by human being or through crowdsourcing. So this is, but once again, the focus of today's webinar is going to be on Vocareum AI Notebook, but just wanted to give you a sort of sense of where we are investing a lot of new energy in. AI Gateway, this is a product which is focused once again on IT. So one of the big issues right now is like, how do you even make a foundational model available to your learners? So sometimes you can go ahead and do an enterprise deal for, let's say, OpenAI on Azure, but it's still often your users might want a broader access to not just one model, but maybe they want access to Claude. And very often, some of our customers have their own custom Llama 3 deployments in their own data centers. So one of the problems that we are trying to solve is to make sure that the model, you can get access to all the models, and also that the IT can put a governance layer on top of it. So this is our AI Gateway product, and we'll just do a quick demo on that. But we're, again, not going to go into details. But let's talk about the AI Notebook, which is the focus of this webinar. So this is an application for delivering all the AI resources. That the resources could mean Gen AI API keys, or could mean AI applications like tutors or assistants. The notebook was built on top of Jupyter, so it has full Jupyter compatibility. For those of you who are familiar with Jupyter Notebook, this is an environment is used very often in data science and machine learning, because it's you can get into coding very quickly without having to learn maybe an operating system or terminal. But we have taken that and extended it to for all sorts of learning related purposes, which might or might not include coding. So for example, if you are familiar with Jupyter, there are only cell types used to be code and markdown. We have added more cell types like text and prompt and quiz and file type to make it relevant for both other use cases beyond coding and also for delivering AI resources. So AI assistant tutors are, again, the resources which are delivered at a part of Notebook. Gen AI API keys, so you can, if you're learning how to code with AI. GPUs, if you're actually part of your AI education involves maybe training foundational models, and you can get feedbacks and grades, and you can have a community, once again, AI-driven community, which you can participate in. So this is sort of some of all the capabilities in our AI Notebook. So once again, it can be a little bit confusing that we will be talking about different use cases, might involve coding, or it might just involve delivering, using AI for teaching and learning efficiency, or for maybe if you're just learning prompt engineering. So these are three buckets of sort of use cases. For coding with AI, we'll deliver AI API keys, GPUs, tutors, and auto grading. For teaching and learning use case, we will provide AI feedback for maybe a general text or file, and we'll do that in demo. And once again, you can participate in tutors or forums. And then if you're just learning maybe prompt engineering, then we'll deliver AI assistants, or even for maybe a student assistant model where you can for delivering administrative information. So these are kind of broad categories, all delivered through our AI notebook. So this is a little bit of the screenshot and where different functionality is, and I'm going to skip that because hopefully it will be easier to show it. So once again, one of the key resources we deliver is GPU resources. So if you are aware of it, like if you're doing, let's say, if you're training a model or you're fine tuning, one of the most critical and expensive resources that you need is GPUs. So we have invested a lot of energy so how we can deliver it efficiently. So one of the ways we do it, for example, we split it to interactive and batch jobs. So if you are just using, let's say, for simple editing, and maybe it can be very efficient to have the GPU for consumed, let's say, because sometimes some of these frameworks will just go and allocate all the memory, so it can be used by anyone else. So that's why at least one of the use case we're supporting is that you can do some debugging maybe on a CPU or on a smaller GPU machine, and then you can schedule a large batch job. You can set hourly budgets. You can specify as a teacher how much memory and what instance to make it available. And there's no need to migrate data between interacting and batch servers. And the way we do it is by basically mounting the same file system. So you don't, sometimes data sets can be very large, as you know, in machine learning. So you don't need to migrate between your interactive and batch environment. Or maybe after running the training, you want to actually try it out, then you can do it without needing to migrate the model. AI notebook can be used for some very specific classroom related tasks like auto grading, team project, peer reviews, and feedback. And this is once again tightly integrated. Tutor and forum, there's a lot of energy which you're putting in. How do we go out there and build a tutor which has as much context as possible? So for example, if you're working on a quiz, it will know exactly, before you ask a question, it will know exactly what you have answered correctly and what you have not. Or maybe, and then if the tutor still hallucinates, you can actually have a conversation around it. And there's some other techniques that you can use, like response caching. So maybe a teacher can come in and tell the tutor that this was the correct response. So with the next time someone asks a question, you will get you'll get the response which was cached. AI generated assessment. So this is actually just a really quick slide about how we are using AI to first build what we call domain model, where very quickly you can take a domain and you can build out a graph of dependency of concepts, and you can use AI to generate assessments and also adaptively deliver it. This example which you're showing is a math use case. But this is once again not a part of the demo, so this is the last time I'll be talking about it. But if there's interest, we are very excited about this particular product. Please contact us. So let's just talk about a demo. So I'll start with the demo, but I just want to set a couple of sort of baseline information, because sometimes it can be confusing as I'll be moving between different roles. And so here's the Vocareum organization structure. In every customer has an organization associated with it. An organization, at the organization level, you can do user management, you can do resource management, you can build what we call courses and their analytics dashboard, and you can provide the authentication infrastructure. And user management at the organization level is admins, and you can even create custom roles. So today I'll be only showing you at the org level an admin role, and then you can set up resources. So, and we will talk about the Gen AI resources that are set up at the org level. And then at the course level, you have you can have an assignments, which we'll talk in the next slide. And then you can, at the organization level, you can have a dashboard and reporting. So now once you go to the course level, There's a teacher role associated with the course, and the teacher has full control of everything that goes on the course. So you can manage enrollments, you can create assignments, and then you have various dashboards. And enrollment, you can have enrolled learners or other instructors. And assignments are created of composed of what we call parts. And so let's talk about the first demo, which is setting up Gen AI resources. So in this particular case, as I was mentioning, as an admin, you can go ahead and decide what resources to deliver. So this is now, I'm in this particular browser window, I'm logged in as an admin for this our organization called Vocareum eval.org. And if I go to the Gen AI, the first thing I can do is what is called services. So I can go out there and say, I can add once more another, let's assume if I have a Llama 3 running, so I can provide to Vocareum an API key, and how do I identify the API key, the budget for this key, and a custom URL. So what's the endpoint? How should Vocareum go ahead and access your Llama 3 environment? And since it does not have any public pricing, you can actually tell Vocareum how do you want to sort of charge for maybe this service. So similarly, if you are using Claude, once again, the only thing in this case we are asking for is the API key and the budget. So for the purpose of this demo, I have already created a few keys here. So the next thing which you can do is you can create what we call policies. So what policies mean is you decide what models and what services are available. So let's say if I say new policy, first thing I can do is pick the services that I have keys for. So for example, in this particular case, I have keys for OpenAI, Cloud Bedrock, and Gemini. So I can go ahead and pick, let's say, a couple of these services. And the next thing now I can do is I can decide what models to make available. So for example, in this case, I can say I want the learner to have access to GPT-4 Turbo and another one. And for Gemini, I want the learners to have access to maybe Gemini 1.5 Pro. Now, this is a collection of all the models which are associated with the policy. There's actually also a JSON form, and the reason why we have implemented that, because we have setting up the foundation for adding more and more sort of controls around this particular policy. So hopefully that gives you a sense of, now I can save this policy. And the first thing I can do with the policy, I can assign it to a specific user. So for example, I can go and, this is my student user account. I can go and say, I want to give this user, I'll name a key, new key, and I can use one of the policies that I have already created. And I can specify end date on when this policy will expire, when this key will expire, and then I can specify an amount. So now once I do that, this user will have access to the models which determined by the policy. So that's one thing I can do. But the next thing I can do is I can go to a course. So I can go to one of the courses and there is a resource tab available. I can say now this course has access to a policy and then associated budget. Now what happens is that the teacher now can go out there and further distribute that budget and those models, and I'll show you how that flow works. So hopefully this gives you a sense of the policies and the keys which can be assigned either at the user level or at the course level. And also another feature here are dashboards. So as an admin, you can get a pretty fine level view of exactly who's using how much resources. So for example, this is saying at the organization level, I'm using $10 and there's a spend, and I distributed 896 keys and there's a $450 budget. and you can go down, drill down further. So hopefully this gives you a sense of how do I, as an admin level, how can I create policies? Now let's go to the next demo, which is now how can I use these policies for example, Gen AI, maybe as a part of my prompt engineering course, or maybe I just want to deliver an assistant, and I want to deliver API keys. So for this, I'm going to show you access via Canvas. So I'm logged into my Canvas code, but of course it could be, you could go directly to Vocareum or come through any other LMS. But for the purpose of demo, we are going to show this via Canvas. So here's a Gen AI sandbox. And this Gen AI sandbox, basically you can, one of the things which is delivered now, so you can, let's say, if you want to integrate Gen AI sandbox for your teaching prompt engineering, or maybe you're teaching prompt engineering in the context of marketing. So you want the student to use Gen AI to maybe write a marketing campaign, you can deliver these assistants. And if you notice here are all the assistants which were available for their policy. So right now, and also there's a budget setup. So there's a $30 budget setup. And so what I can do right now, I can say, what model are you? And hopefully it will tell me I'm a GPT-4 based model. And if I switch it, Gemini, so sometimes actually we are sending the entire conversation, so it will still get confused, but it is saying I'm running the ULM model. So once again, it's very easy, as you can see, for the learners to try, play with different models and maybe get a sense of which model works better for which task. So this could be used just as a general assistant. Now let's assume that if you wanted to deliver a custom assistant, so I'll go back to my admin view, and I have some apps here. So I can build an app. And what in this particular case, we took a University of Cincinnati, some handbook which we downloaded, and I uploaded this file here and did a build, and it takes a few minutes. So maybe I'll not do this live, but let me go ahead and create another app here. So I'll create an Amazon case study. I was saying, okay, there's already an assistant. It does not, it wants it to have only one name per, all this is cases. Just, it wanted to have a unique name for the app. So, and then I will upload a file here. I think this is from MIT. We just downloaded an Amazon case study, and I'm going to go ahead and hit build. Now it's going to go ahead and do indexing. It can take a minute or so. So while we do that, I'm going to go back to this assistant which I was showing you, and I'm going to go ahead and share it with the course, which I was just doing a demo here. So I'm going to share with Canvas demo 2022. Let me go ahead and save it. So now what should happen is that, and also there are a few options, which is end users keys, or you can provide a key. So that basically your key is targeted, is basically used for the budgeting purposes, or you can ask the end user to bring their own key. So in this particular case, I'm saying I want the end users to bring their own key, and I'm going to go ahead and go back and refresh the screen. So if you notice that there's another assistant which is available now, which is the grad handbook. So now what I can do is I can pick a key and I say, how many credits are needed? Graduate. And if you notice, I'm not typing in anywhere because it's coming from University of Cincinnati handbook, so it should automatically understand it. And also, if you notice that it's actually providing a URL where it found the information. So you can, the idea is you can use this assistant to deliver maybe the course material or maybe some information about, things like how to find when the assignment is due or whatever, right? So this is one use case where you can use Vocareum Notebook to deliver not only foundational model assistant, but also a custom assistant. Hopefully, if you go here, what should be done, the model should be built here. It is. Now, let's say I can go ahead and share it again. Oh, no, I'm still on the other one, Amazon, sorry. So now that I've done it, it should again show up as another assistant for that course. So that's how we can deliver assistance to the learner, which is and also one more thing actually I forgot to mention, that there's, if you click here, then you'll notice that there's a budget and it says out of $30, 3 cents got consumed so far. So the learners can get a really sort of on the sort of real-time idea about how many resources being consumed. But also if there are some base URLs. So if you notice here, openai.vocareum.com, Cloud Bedrock. So you can use this URLs and you can take it anywhere else. So for example, it doesn't have to be in Vocareum Notebook, anywhere else where, let's say if you're writing maybe some Python program, you can, or some other service, you can use the API key as well as this base URL to continue to use the resources which were made available to you through this service. So the important thing is some of our customers are using it for research purposes. So now you can deliver different models and in a constrained fashion for research. So and as I was mentioning, so far the only policy that we have is model you can use, but we are hoping to add, as we hear more requirements. For example, maybe you want to do PII filtering, or you want to go out there, do some more analysis, maybe you want to do automatic routing. So we are hoping that this whole policy will get more and more sophisticated as our customers, sort of have more and more requirements. So the next thing, let's talk about the coding with Gen AI, Copilots, and tutors. So once again, I will go to this, our standard Vocareum notebook. In this particular case, this is let me start with another configuration. So I'm going to go back. Hopefully it's not getting too much that I'm switching back and forth between different roles. So I want to go out there and look at this assignment. And so this is how the authoring view of the assignment is. So it's saying this is a Jupyter Lab assignment. It has some resources. And one of the resources which are delivered is, I'm going to just turn this off really quickly. Refresh it here. So this is a vanilla Jupyter notebook, which a lot of you who are using coding might be familiar with. In this particular case, the teacher has asked the learner to go and do an assignment where you're saying provide what is the factorial 3 answers, the value of 3, and then they can submit their work. And what the submission will do is it's actually being auto-graded using something called NB grader. And if you notice saying, okay, 2 by 2, you got 2 points because this answer was correct. And, some of this answer, we haven't even done that, it's 0. And this is auto-grading, which now gets sent to LMS, the grades. So now let me just go ahead and enable a couple of other resources like an AI assistant and Copilot. And so once again, this is the authoring interface. Now I'm going to go back to the student view and reload it. I was trying to figure out if it's better to flip back between student and teacher view, or flip back from a back and forth between different screens. So in this case, now you'll notice there are a couple of other things have shown up. One is this get help, and this is a Copilot. So if a Copilot will actually try to answer the question for you. And you can customize Copilot, and I'm just going to say, please provide comments in Spanish. I don't know why I would want this. So it will try to answer this question, and you can see that it has the context that you're trying to answer this factorial 3. So it's saying, you're trying to suggest that this is what you should do, and there are some comments here. You can accept it or reject it, or you can go and get help via Tutor. And Tutor is actually, I need to actually turn off this Grad AI. I apologize for that. Apps. I'll just stop the sharing so that you can see how the. What you would notice is that Tutor is not working with a custom assistant. So now in this case that I have actually stopped sharing the custom assistant, the virtual tutor is actually, in fact, I clicked it on the wrong cell here. So let me go back to the cell here where you're trying to solve the problem. And this one is configured to say, don't provide the answer, but okay, try to help with the question here. So if you can see here, it will say, okay, your task is to write a recursive function and trying to tell you the code structure and how to write it. And you can and then you can have a conversation. You can have this conversation once again with a different model. This create thread actually creates a forum. So in case the AI is hallucinating, or if you have questions about the AI feedback, you can have a comment on it, and the teacher can make it available for the entire class, or you can restrict it to your team, or just with the teacher here. So that's our tutor and co-pilots that we can deliver, and the forums that we can deliver through Vocareum Notebook for an environment where you are coding. So we just showed you one assessment strategy, which is auto grading, but there are lots of other assessment solutions like peer reviews and manual comments, but we won't have time to do that. So let's go to the next slide. Fine-tuning using GPUs. So this is now we're going to deliver a GPU to a fine-tuning task. So once again, I believe this is the Tiny Llama 3. This is not delivered by Facebook, but this is an open source model, which draws inspiration from Llama 3. I'm not completely sure what the relationship is, but it's a good size model. It's about I believe 1.1 billion parameters, and I can go ahead and show you the configuration for that. It is in this particular model, we have decided to deliver just interactive 10 hours of interactive GPU resources. And I believe it is set up to have 4 GB. So it runs a few minutes, so I will not going to go through this live here, but basically we have split this into 2 notebooks. One is inference and one is training. So here is the training notebook. And if I start this, it will actually go ahead and create the model. But I just want to show the inference, the way it was, the inference model. So the model is already developed. And the way for this demo, we have trained it with some medical data. So if you run it, it will basically go ahead. Oh, it might take a few minutes. So basically, we're trying to show it that before training, if you ask it the question like what's the cause of high blood pressure, it'll give you fairly random answers. But after training, who are the risk for high blood pressure? But after training, because there's some medical data in it, it will give you more appropriate answers. So as I was saying, and it is running on GPU, and as I was saying, it's a fairly good size model. So in this particular case, there's a prompt setup who's at risk for high blood pressure, and this particular Python is actually running pre-trained model. So it's saying before training, so it's giving you answers like explain the symptoms of high blood pressure. So obviously it's not giving you a good, giving you kind of random answer. But after training with data set, actually, and while it is executing that, if you notice that there's another cell which we call a prompt cell type. So this is a prompt cell site. So not only you can train it, but you can test it. And this is actually coming from the previous run. And you can go ahead and specify. Let me go and type the prompt again. And so, and if I run it, still the inference takes a minute or so. It's running it right now. So you can see the answer here is a common, it's a condition bridge. So this is again using GPUs, showing you the flow where you can use GPUs for training, and you can use the prompt engineering for prompt cell type to actually build a quick UI, and then you can very soon you'll be able to share just the prompt cell with anyone else. So you can actually share these models. So let's go ahead and talk about the next use case. Now, this is the latest, greatest thing which you're doing with one of our customers using Gen AI for feedback. So this is not. Let's go and look at the. Maybe I should go at the teacher first. AI feedback. In this particular case, we have basically created an assignment which says write 5 sentences. So there's no write 5 sentences for the stock price of Amazon. And then we have set it up to say provide a feedback based on these rubrics. Check all the factual data, check for completeness, if all important milestones and presents. And this is a coding example. And the last one is basically you're uploading a file and you're saying this is a PowerPoint file. You're asking someone to write a presentation, and you're going to give a feedback based on the rubrics like the presentation should mention the reason incentive for financial fraud, and look at how do you detect financial. So anyway, so there is some rubric. So this is all that you have to do. Now let's go back as a learner. And I will go to this assignment called AI feedback. Just so that you don't have to see me type, the answer is already there. So I'm going to ask for a feedback. It's actually pretty good because I've been really surprised by that. If it can give you a taking a little longer there. Okay, there you go. So it's saying, okay, it's factually correct. Answer is factually correct. So for example, if I make a mistake here and say that Amazon did a public went IPO in 1998, then it should go back and go ahead and give you feedback. Right now, we are not using it for grading, but the first customer just wanted to use it for providing feedback. So it says the IPO date was 1997, not 1998. What's pretty fascinating, this particular one, you don't have to do anything because it can see the instructions saying, write a Python function called for factorial that uses recursion. And let's say if you make a mistake here and, 2 return 4 or whatever. And if I ask the AI to check it, it's actually just checking the source code itself, and instead of executing it. And I realize the last cell is not here. Maybe maybe this is running from a previous version. Yeah, so it's basically say, if 4 is incorrect. But I actually was expecting one more cell so that I can show you the file upload. I'm just I don't think it has the latest version, so I'm resetting it, hopefully. What reset does is brings in the what we call the starter code, the initial starting point where the teacher has developed. So now you can see the upload file here. So let me go ahead and upload a file. And I have a PowerPoint here on my, which is about, it's talking about, about business fraud. Someone has done a presentation using Enron as a case study. And this is, okay, all files. Let me just go ahead and, so now what AI is going to do is, so in a fairly good size file, is going to convert it to text and use the rubrics and going to send it to the AI and get a feedback on the. Looks like it's taking a little bit of time, but that was my last demo, and hopefully it. Okay, there you go. So here's the feedback, and basically on all the saying the response provides a comprehensive view of the reason and incentive for financial fraud detection. Some anyway, so it's actually took the file and giving you feedback. So this is kind of the latest use case that we are deploying for customers who are not using it for coding, but for financial services.